Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pink Cloud Frequency. I am your host, Brianna Wynn. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have ever noticed how alcohol can make a really stressful day disappear until tomorrow, then this episode is for you. I am so excited to get a little bit deeper and discuss how alcohol postpones our problems while also delaying the growth needed to solve them. This really hits home for me because anytime alcohol entered the picture, it suddenly felt like my problems disappeared. As a single mom, there have been many times in life I've worried about my finances. But as soon as I started drinking, those worries felt like they just went away. I would spend money on the alcohol I was drinking, buy more alcohol as the night went on, make purchases as a result of my intoxication. And all the while, my problem was actually growing. The alcohol didn't remove my financial issues, it postponed them and, more importantly, delayed the growth that I needed as a person to actually solve them. Escape may feel good in the moment, but it actually keeps you stuck because anytime you're using alcohol in an attempt to escape a problem or escape an emotion like stress, loneliness, overwhelm, anxiety, what you're really escaping is the opportunity for growth. Think of any problem or challenge in your life that has caused you stress. And instead of dealing with it head on, you drank. For a few hours, everything feels less urgent. And that's exactly what makes escape so appealing. Because for a little while, it feels like those problems just vanish. But what really disappears is your awareness of your problems. Escape requires nothing from you. Think about that for a minute. Escape requires nothing. It doesn't ask you to become more patient. It doesn't ask you to communicate or apologize. It doesn't ask you to forgive. It doesn't ask you to become more disciplined. Escape simply asks you to disappear. When you escape through intoxication, you don't have to have those difficult conversations. You don't have to apologize or face the finances. You don't have to clean that bedroom that's been overwhelming you for days, or schedule that appointment you keep putting off, or ask for help. You don't have to admit to anyone that you're exhausted. And that's why alcohol feels like it works temporarily. But when the alcohol wears off, everything is still the same. The problems weren't removed, they were simply postponed. And postponed problems become bigger problems down the road. Let's say that you're dealing with the death of a loved one. The pain feels unbearable in the moment, and you may drink to cope with it. But the next morning you wake up, your loved one is still gone, but now you have a hangover on top of that heartbreak. You have dozens of missed calls, text messages from family and friends. People are asking you to help with decisions about funeral arrangements, the bills, the legal documents and insurance claims. All of that still needs your attention. Your children, who also lost a loved one, they also need comfort and reassurance. Everyone is grieving, including you, but you still haven't processed the loss. that grief is waiting for you exactly where you left it. And this is exactly what happens with any challenge you may be facing in life. When drinking becomes the response on a regular basis, the gap for you to deal with it widens because the conversations that you're avoiding, those become more emotionally loaded. The decisions become more urgent because now the deadlines are passing. Relationships can become strained if other people feel that you've withdrawn or you're unavailable emotionally. Everyday responsibilities pile up, creating stress on top of more stress. The problem itself feels more overwhelming because it hasn't been worked through. It's simply been postponed while all of those new stressors accumulate. So the question we need to ask is, what is it that you're really trying to escape? Is it, in fact, grief? Have you lost a loved one recently? Is it exhaustion or overwhelm? Maybe disappointment or uncertainty? Because the drink itself is usually never about the drink. It's about the relief from what you're facing. But relief isn't the same as resolution. And when you choose to drink to escape the problem or the death, to get the relief, you lose the opportunity to become the person who could actually handle the situation without needing to drink. Every difficult situation in life, it asks something of you. Maybe that's your patience or your courage. It may ask you to communicate better, to be more disciplined. Every problem is a challenge that has purpose within it. But when you remove yourself from the process, you also remove yourself from the opportunity to develop the very skills that would help you overcome it in the first place. Every challenge has two purposes. And I say challenge because I'm using challenge and problem interchangeably, but the death of a loved one isn't just a problem. It's not something that you just created. It's something that happened. But nonetheless, it's something that needs your attention. It's something that needs to be worked through. So when you're going through these things in life, the first thing, of course, is to come to some sort of resolution or closure. And the other purpose is to change you, who you are, how you were, who you're becoming in the process of that growth. But when we try to escape with alcohol, we delay both the solution and the growth. Let's say that your problem is financial, like a lot of mine were. You're buried in credit card debt because of years of impulsive spending. That was something that was within my control. The credit card statement comes to your inbox. So your chest tightens. Your stomach drops when you look at the balance owed. You stare blankly at the screen. And then you close the email. You tell yourself that you'll deal with it tomorrow. You convince yourself that a glass of wine is the solution. When you pour your glass of wine at night, you're not craving the wine itself. You're not thinking, oh, this is going to taste so good just because it's going to taste so good. You're pouring that glass of wine, craving the mental relief that you are about to experience. You're looking for an escape from the overwhelm of the bills that you owe. But when you drink, you don't actually learn the skills to solve that problem. You don't learn how to call the credit card companies and negotiate lower interest rates or ask for fees to be removed. You don't learn how to build a realistic budget. You don't learn to delay gratification when you want to make another purchase. And you don't learn to make consistent decisions that slowly rebuild your financial life. You wake up the next morning and the debt is still there. Only now you've lost another evening, you've lost more money, you've lost your patience and resiliency, you've compounded the problem, and now you still don't have the skills to solve the problem. Every financial decision you avoid reinforces a version of yourself. It reinforces a woman who avoids looking at her bank account, a woman who just hopes things somehow get better, a woman who starts to believe that she's just bad with money. Every time you engage with your finances, instead of choosing to escape them, now you're choosing a different identity. Now you are becoming the woman who confidently manages money, the woman who builds wealth instead of debt, the woman who makes financial decisions from intention instead of emotion, the woman who no longer lives with money hanging over her head. Now, I know budgeting may sound basic to some of you, but if it were really that simple, then millions of people wouldn't be carrying credit card debt. Budgeting is a skill. Delaying gratification is a skill. Spending your money intentionally is a skill. And those are skills you develop by engaging with your problems, not escaping them. So whether it is budgeting or having difficult conversations, setting boundaries, asking for help, regulating your emotions, those are all skills. And skills are developed through practice. Every time you escape discomfort, you miss an opportunity to practice the very thing that would move your life forward and to become the person who lives on the other side of that thing. When alcohol becomes your default response, you are developing dependency. You're taking an active stance to do nothing about what's right in front of you that needs to be solved. And honestly, as mothers, we already understand this because we have the tendency to do it with our children. We hate watching our kids struggle. So we step in because we want to fix everything for them. We want to protect them and take away every uncomfortable feeling. But if we rescued our children every time they went through an adverse experience or emotion, we would be asking nothing of them. They would never learn resiliency or confidence or problem solving. They would never discover who they're truly capable of on their own. And that's why good parents don't remove every obstacle. They stay present while their children learn to overcome them. But alcohol does the opposite. It removes you from the obstacle. It removes the opportunity to discover what you're capable of. As adults, it's as if we want alcohol to be the parent that comes in and rescues us, but without the lesson. There are lessons in every experience, even in grief. You can't change the fact that someone you care about has died. You can't fix it. But grief still does ask something of you. It asks you to feel and to process and to lean on other people. It asks you to sit with those emotions that you'd rather avoid. It asks you to discover that you can survive something you never imagined surviving. And when alcohol becomes the escape, it doesn't remove that grief. It delays it. And in order to find some purpose, you have to move through that experience. Every challenge you face without escaping becomes evidence that you are, in fact, stronger than you thought. So even though alcohol may help you escape for a night, freeing yourself from alcohol and learning how to manage your problems or process grief, that changes who you become for the rest of your life. So for your reflection, ask yourself, what might the situation be trying to teach me if I choose to face it rather than escape it? So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If it resonated with you, please leave a 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. I will talk to you all next Wednesday.